in the African American community, when a lot of us have been pushing very hard to try to keep folks to from doing it, and what some people say is, listen, in some of these neighborhoods, there's been an epidemic of death the whole time. You're worrying about these invisible bullets from the virus. We've been dodging real bullets the whole time. Every weekend, somebody may lose their life, and we can't just hide in the house because we're afraid of a drive-by shooting or because we're afraid some dunce is going to jump off on the block. So you have to understand, now you're worried about the funerals, Van Jones. Now you're worried about, something might happen. But stuff has been happening here, and some of us have just made the decision, we're just not going to hide. We don't hide from bullets. We're not going to hide from this. I don't agree with the logic, but I have an understanding of it, and what it shows is a level of despair in communities that have been abandoned for too long. No community that, it's a majority white community, has to suffer this way. And when it happens with the opioid crisis, the whole country moves. Oh my God, there's all these funerals happening in Appalachia. But you've had funeral after funeral happening in places like Chicago, tougher parts of Detroit, tougher parts of Atlanta, and there was no response. And so it's calling us all out for our lack of oneness, our lack of unity as a country, for the existing epidemics of violence, poverty, and disease.
As you were talking, what really struck me is that, with hypertension and other issues, a lot of people in the African American community are probably at risk, which means that they can't go out even as they slowly reopen, and that creates this economic catastrophe.
Yeah, and so that's part of why we're trying to raise this hue and this cry, and I appreciate your interest in this. There are smart ways to handle this. Maybe the ADA, Americans with Disability Act, should be extended to include people who have these underlying conditions in a pandemic so we can protect those jobs. There's things that can be done, but you've got to start with the people who are getting hit first and worst and build your policy from that. Build your economic response for those communities. Build your health response for those communities. Instead, we've fired $3 trillion cannons into the economy, and we haven't hit a poor person yet. This is not the right way to go forward. We've got to do better. And this is not over. We're going to be in this for a while. We've got to get better at helping the people who most need the help.